The first light of Ra's golden bark has not yet touched the eastern horizon when you stir in your bed of cedar and gold. Your chamber, vast as a temple hall, holds the silence of sacred spaces, broken only by the soft whisper of linen curtains moved by the night breeze from the Nile. You are not awakened by servants; that would be unseemly for one of your divine station. Instead, your body, attuned to the rhythms of the cosmos itself, knows when the sun god begins his daily journey across the sky. Your bed is a marvel of craftsmanship, its legs carved in the likeness of lions, symbols of your royal power. The mattress beneath you is stuffed with the finest goose down, covered in linen so fine it feels like captured moonlight against your skin. Golden amulets rest against your chest, having protected you through the vulnerable hours of sleep when your Ka travels the realm of dreams. As consciousness fully returns, you become aware of the weight that awaits you. Not merely the physical weight of the double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt, though that too presses heavy upon the head, but the immeasurable burden of divinity itself. You are Pharaoh, the living Horus, son of Ra, beloved of Ptah. Every breath you draw is watched by the gods, every heartbeat monitored by fate itself. The first of your body servants appears as if summoned by thought alone. He approaches on silent feet, his head bowed so low his forehead nearly touches the cool stone floor. These men have served your person since childhood, their loyalty tested by years and sealed by sacred oaths. They know your body as well as you do, every scar from childhood adventures, every mark of kingship earned through ceremony and conquest. Your morning ablutions are not mere cleansing, but acts of religious significance. The water that touches your divine flesh has been blessed by priests of Khnum, drawn from the sacred Nile at dawn and mixed with oils of frankincense and myrrh. As the servants bathe you, they recite the ancient formulas that maintain your purity, for you must be spotless when you stand before the gods in the morning temple service. The process of dressing you is a ritual in itself. First comes the finest linen, woven by the most skilled craftsmen in Memphis, so white it seems to glow with inner light. Over this goes the ceremonial kilt, pleated and starched to perfection, its golden belt bearing the names of gods and the symbols of your dominion over the two lands. Upon your chest rests the great collar of gold and lapis lazuli, each stone chosen for its protective properties, each golden link forged in the sacred fires of Ptah's temple. Your feet, which will carry the weight of divine authority through the day ahead, are shod in sandals of gilded leather, their soles worked with spells to ensure that wherever you walk, the land remains fertile and blessed. The morning air carries the scent of lotus blossoms from the palace gardens, mixing with the incense that burns eternally in the household shrines. As the servants complete their ministrations, you catch sight of yourself in the polished bronze mirror held by your chief attendant. The face that looks back is both human and divine. Your eyes lined with kohl not merely for beauty, but to ward off the evil eye. Your lips touched with red ochre to give your words power. Yet beneath the ceremonial perfection, you glimpse the mortal man who must bear the burden of godhood. The double crown awaits on its sacred stand, the white crown of Upper Egypt nested within the red crown of Lower Egypt, the cobra and vulture poised to strike at any who would threaten your divine authority. Soon you will don it and become fully transformed from the private man into the public god. But for these last precious moments of dawn, you are still yourself, breathing in the sweet air of morning and preparing for another day of ruling the greatest kingdom the world has ever known. You move through the palace corridors with measured steps, each footfall echoing in the vast stone passages that connect the chambers of power. The walls around you tell the story of your divine lineage in painted hieroglyphs and carved reliefs. Your ancestors receiving the breath of life from the gods, conquering enemies, building monuments that touch the heavens. You are the latest link in this golden chain of divinity, and the weight of that heritage settles on your shoulders like a mantle of stars. The courtiers who line your path prostrate themselves as you pass, their foreheads touching the cool limestone floor in gestures of absolute submission. To them, you are not merely their king, but their God walking among mortals. Their lives, their fortunes, their very souls depend upon your favor. A word from you can elevate a humble scribe to the highest offices of state, or cast down a noble family into disgrace and exile. This power that flows through you is both intoxicating and terrifying. When you speak, your words carry the force of divine decree. When you commanded the Great Pyramid at Giza to be built, 20,000 workers labored for decades to fulfill your vision. When you declared war upon the Nubians, armies marched south bearing your standard, fighting and dying in your name. The very rhythm of the Nile seems to respond to your will, rising and falling in its annual flood according to the rituals you perform. Yet, with each decision, you feel the awesome responsibility that godhood demands. The prosperity of Egypt rests in your hands. If the harvest fails, it is because you have somehow displeased the gods. If plague strikes the land, the people look to you to intercede with the divine powers on their behalf. If enemies threaten the borders, you must either lead your armies to victory or watch your kingdom crumble. Your human heart sometimes rebels against this burden. In quiet moments, stolen between ceremonies and audiences, you remember what it was like to be merely a prince, to have your actions matter only to yourself. Now, every gesture is watched and interpreted, every expression analyzed for signs of divine displeasure. The priests examine your dreams for omens, the courtiers study your face for hints of your intentions. The concept of Ma'at weighs heavily upon your thoughts as you walk. This divine order, this cosmic balance that holds the universe together, depends upon your righteousness. You must be the living embodiment of justice, truth, and harmony. When you judge disputes brought before your throne, you are not merely settling arguments between mortals, you are maintaining the very fabric of creation itself. Sometimes, in the depths of night, when even the palace sleeps, you wonder if the gods truly speak through you, or if you are simply a mortal man pretending to divine authority. But such doubts must be buried deep, for to question your own divinity would be to invite chaos into the ordered world you are sworn to protect. The people need their God-King to be certain, to be infallible, to be the fixed point around which their world revolves. The morning sun now streams through the high windows of the corridor, painting golden rectangles on the floor before you. Ra has begun his daily journey across the sky, and you must join him in the eternal dance of divine duty. Your mortal concerns, your human fears and doubts must be set aside once again, as you prepare to face the day as Pharaoh, the living God, the bridge between heaven and earth. The great temple of Amun-Ra rises before you like a mountain of dressed stone, its massive pylons reaching toward the heavens where the gods dwell. The morning air is thick with incense, myrrh from Punt, frankincense from Arabia, and the sweet smoke of Kifi, the sacred perfume that pleases the nostrils of the divine. Your bare feet touch the cool limestone of the temple courtyard, and you feel the power of this holy place flowing up through the stone into your body. The priests await you in their white linen robes, their heads shaved smooth, their bodies purified by ritual baths taken before dawn. They have been preparing for this moment since the last stars faded from the sky, arranging the offerings, lighting the sacred fires, preparing the temple for your divine presence. As you approach, they prostrate themselves, but not in the manner of common courtiers. These men serve both you and the gods, and their reverence carries the weight of religious awe. You enter the temple proper, moving through the great hypostyle hall, where massive columns rise like a forest of stone trees, their capitals carved to resemble lotus blossoms and papyrus plants, the symbols of Upper and Lower Egypt united under your rule. The walls around you glow with painted scenes of your divine birth, your coronation, your triumph over the forces of chaos. Here, surrounded by images of your own godhood, you feel most keenly the transformation from mortal to divine. The inner sanctuary awaits, that most sacred space where only you may enter to commune directly with the god. The golden statue of Amun-Ra sits upon its throne, its eyes inlaid with precious stones that seem to follow your movements. This is no mere sculpture, but the actual dwelling place of the god's spirit on earth. You approach with careful steps, for you are entering the presence of your divine Father. The morning ritual begins with your own voice raised in the ancient hymns, words that have been spoken by pharaohs for 1,000 years before you. Your voice echoes in the stone chamber, seeming to take on a power beyond human speech. You are not merely reciting prayers, but commanding the very forces that govern the universe. Through your words, Ra's solar bark is launched upon its daily voyage across the sky. You anoint the golden statue with sacred oils, your hands trembling slightly, not from fear, but from the awesome power that flows through this act. The oil, blessed and consecrated, carries your prayers and the needs of Egypt to the god's attention. You dress the statue in fresh linen, place the ceremonial crown upon its head, offer food and drink that the god's Ka may be nourished and content. As the ceremony reaches its climax, you feel the presence of the divine settling upon you like a cloak of starlight. The boundary between your mortal self and your divine nature dissolves, and you become truly Pharaoh, not just a man who rules, but a god who inhabits the earth. Your words now carry the authority of heaven itself. Your breath mingles with the breath of creation. The high priest of Amun approaches with the sacred oracle, and you listen as the god's will is revealed through the subtle movements of the divine bark carried on the shoulders of the temple servants. Questions of state policy, military campaigns, the timing of royal ceremonies, all these matters require divine guidance, and you must interpret the signs with wisdom that goes beyond human understanding. The temple ceremonies consume the morning hours, but they are not mere ritual. They are the maintenance work of the cosmos itself. Through your actions, the sun continues its course, the Nile prepares for its annual flood, the forces of chaos are held at bay for another day. Without these daily acts of devotion, performed by you as the god's chosen representative on earth, the very foundations of creation might crumble. As you finally emerge from the temple's inner sanctum, the sun has climbed high into the sky, and the business of ruling awaits. But you carry with you the power and presence of the divine, ready to face whatever challenges the day may bring, with the certainty that the gods walk beside you. The throne room of your palace stretches before you like a hall of judgment in the afterlife itself. Massive columns of red granite support a ceiling painted with stars and the soaring figure of the sky goddess Nut, her body arched protectively over your realm. Your throne, carved from a single block of obsidian and inlaid with gold and precious stones, sits upon a raised dais that elevates you above all mortal concerns. When you take your seat upon it, the very act transforms you from a man into the living embodiment of royal authority. Your vizier approaches with the careful steps of one who knows that he walks in the presence of divinity. This man, chosen from among the wisest and most trusted of your officials, serves as your voice and hands in the daily governance of Egypt. His white linen robes rustle softly as he prostrates himself before your throne, then rises to present the scroll that contains the day's business. Reports from the provincial governors, requests for royal audiences, matters that require the direct attention of Pharaoh. The first matter brought before you concerns the construction of a new temple in Thebes. The architects and priests have debated the proper orientation and dimensions for months, but ultimately only you can make the final decision. Your word will determine not merely the temple's appearance, but its spiritual effectiveness, for a temple built according to your divine will becomes a true dwelling place for the gods. You listen to the arguments presented by the chief architect, his voice respectful but confident in his expertise. He speaks of foundations that must align with certain stars, of proportions that reflect the sacred mathematics of creation itself. The high priest of Amun adds his counsel, reminding you of the religious requirements that must be satisfied if the temple is to serve its spiritual purpose. With deliberate care, you consider their words, but your decision comes not from human reasoning alone, but from the divine wisdom that flows through you. You speak, and your words carry the force of absolute decree. The temple will be built according to your specifications, and thousands of workers will labor to fulfill your vision. Stone will be quarried, gold will be shaped, precious woods will be carved, all because you have spoken. Next comes news from the southern borders, where Nubian tribes have been raiding Egyptian settlements. Your general, scarred from many campaigns, presents the military situation with the blunt honesty that you demand from your commanders. The raids threaten not only the immediate victims, but the perception of Egyptian power throughout the region. Weakness, real or imagined, can spread like wildfire through an empire as vast as yours. You do not hesitate in your response. The full might of Egypt's military will be deployed to crush this challenge to your authority. 20,000 soldiers will march south, carrying your standards and fighting in your name. The Nubian chieftains will be brought before you in chains, or their heads will be displayed on the palace walls as a warning to others who might dare to defy the power of Pharaoh. The weight of these decisions settles upon you like the mass of the pyramid stones that will one day cover your tomb. Each choice you make ripples outward through the lives of thousands, sometimes millions of people. The temple you approved will provide employment for craftsmen and laborers for years to come. The military campaign you ordered will determine the fate of soldiers who will march into battle carrying your name on their lips. Your treasurer approaches with news of the royal finances, speaking in the measured tones of one who deals daily with vast wealth. Gold flows into your treasury from the mines of the eastern desert. Tribute arrives from conquered territories. Taxes pour in from the fertile fields along the Nile. Yet the expenses of kingship are equally vast. The army must be maintained, the temples supported, the great building projects funded. You listen to the figures with the detached attention of one for whom wealth is not a personal possession, but a tool of statecraft. The gold in your treasury does not belong to you as a man, but to you as Pharaoh, to be used for the glory of Egypt and the service of the gods. A single decision from you can redirect streams of precious metal toward whatever project serves the greater good of your kingdom. As the day progresses and more matters are brought before your throne, you feel the awesome responsibility of absolute power. Every word you speak becomes law, every gesture carries meaning, every decision shapes the destiny of the greatest civilization on earth. There is no appeal from your judgment, no higher authority to which your subjects can turn. You are the final word, the ultimate source of justice and order in the world. The royal dining hall opens before you like a vision from the realm of the gods themselves. Golden columns support a ceiling painted with scenes of abundance, overflowing granaries, laden fruit trees, the annual flood bringing fertility to the land. Your table, crafted from ebony and inlaid with ivory and precious stones, stretches across the hall's width, laden with delicacies gathered from every corner of your empire and beyond. You take your place upon the dining couch, its lion-shaped legs supporting cushions of the finest silk, dyed in the royal purple that only you may wear. Your golden cup, worked by the most skilled artisans in Memphis, awaits the wine that has been aging in your cellars since before your birth. The very act of dining becomes a ceremony of divine indulgence, each taste a reminder of your dominion over the bounty of the earth. The feast before you represents the wealth of nations. Roasted fowl from the delta marshes, their crispy skin glistening with honey and spices. Fish from the sacred Nile, prepared according to recipes known only to your royal cooks. Fruits from distant lands, dates from Mesopotamia, figs from Syria, exotic melons whose names are unknown to common Egyptians. Bread baked from the finest wheat, formed into shapes that honor the gods and celebrate your divine kingship. Musicians enter the hall with instruments of gold and silver, their melodies floating through the perfumed air like the songs of divine messengers. The sistrum players shake their sacred rattles in rhythms that echo the heartbeat of the cosmos itself. Harp strings vibrate with notes that seem to bridge the gap between earth and heaven, while flute music weaves through the air like the breath of the gods made audible. Dancers follow the musicians, their movements as graceful as reeds swaying in the Nile breeze. Their costumes of translucent linen and golden jewelry catch the light of the oil lamps, creating patterns of shadow and brilliance that mesmerize the eye. Yet even as you watch their performance, you are aware that they dance not for your personal pleasure, but in honor of your divine status, their art another form of worship offered to the living God. Your food tasters precede each dish, their lives forfeit if poison should somehow find its way to your table. These men, chosen for their loyalty and trained to detect even the subtlest toxins, represent both the luxury and the danger of your position. Even in the act of dining, you must remain vigilant against those who would harm the divine person of Pharaoh. Courtiers line the walls of the dining hall, their eyes fixed upon you with mixtures of reverence, fear, and calculation. They watch your every expression, seeking signs of favor or displeasure that might affect their own fortunes. A smile from you can elevate a nobleman's son to high office. A frown can send entire families into exile. Yet this constant attention, this never-ending scrutiny, creates an invisible barrier between you and all human connection. You dine alone, despite being surrounded by hundreds of people. The food in your mouth, however exquisite, tastes of isolation. The wine, however fine its vintage, cannot wash away the knowledge that you are forever set apart from ordinary human experience. Every person in this hall wants something from you: position, wealth, protection. But none can offer you the simple companionship that your human heart sometimes craves.
The servants who attend you move with practiced silence, anticipating your needs before you voice them. They have studied your preferences until they know them more intimately than friends might know each other's thoughts. Yet their devotion is not friendship, but duty, their attention not affection. They love Pharaoh as an abstract concept, the divine ruler who ensures Egypt's prosperity, but they cannot know you as a man with hopes and fears and moments of doubt. Even your own family approaches you with the formal reverence due to your divine status. Your queen, beautiful and intelligent, speaks to you with words carefully chosen to honor your position. Your children learn from infancy to treat you not as a father, but as a god who happens to share their blood. The spontaneous warmth of family love becomes another casualty of the absolute power you wield. As the evening deepens and the entertainment continues, you find yourself studying the faces around you, searching for one genuine smile, one unguarded expression of simple human warmth. But you see only the careful masks of court protocol, the studied expressions of those who know that their lives depend upon pleasing an all-powerful sovereign. Your throne has elevated you to heights from which genuine human connection becomes impossible to reach. The loneliness of absolute power settles around you like the golden chains of your royal regalia, beautiful, precious, and utterly inescapable.
Deep beneath the western cliffs of Thebes, where the sun dies each evening only to be reborn at dawn, your tomb takes shape in the living rock. The sound of copper chisels against limestone echoes through the corridors as skilled craftsmen carve your eternal dwelling place from the bones of the earth itself. This is not merely a burial chamber, but a palace for your afterlife, a fortress for your immortal soul, a launching point for your journey to join the gods among the circumpolar stars. You descend the sloping passageway, your torch casting dancing shadows on walls that will soon blaze with painted scenes of your divine transformation. The air grows cooler as you move deeper into the sacred mountain, leaving behind the world of the living to enter the realm that will be yours for all eternity. Your footsteps echo with supernatural resonance, as if the stone itself recognizes the divine nature of your presence. The royal architect awaits you in what will become your burial chamber, his drawings spread across a table of cedar wood imported from the forests of Lebanon. These are not mere building plans, but sacred texts, each dimension calculated according to the ancient wisdom that governs the passage between life and death. The chamber must align with certain stars. Its proportions must reflect the mathematical perfection of divine order. Its decorations must provide you with the spells and formulas needed to navigate the perils of the afterlife. Your sarcophagus is already taking shape in the workshops of the royal craftsmen, carved from a single block of red granite brought from the quarries of Aswan. The stone itself was chosen for its color, which mirrors the blood of life and the fire of the sun. Your mummy will rest within this eternal fortress, protected by spells carved into the stone and paintings that will come alive in the afterlife to serve and protect your immortal Ka. The walls around you will soon glow with scenes from the sacred texts, your journey through the underworld, your trials before the divine tribunal, your ultimate transformation into a god among gods. These are not mere decorations, but magical spells made visible, each figure and hieroglyph precisely placed to ensure your successful passage to eternal life. The artists who will paint these scenes must be initiated into the deepest mysteries of death and rebirth, for their work will determine your fate in the world beyond. Your canopic jars await in the treasury, carved from alabaster so fine it seems to glow with inner light. These will hold your preserved organs, liver,
lungs, stomach, and intestines, each protected by one of the 4 sons of Horus. Your heart, the seat of your intelligence and will remain within your mummy, for you will need it when your deeds are weighed against the feather of Ma'at in the Hall of Judgment. The process of mummification that awaits your mortal body has been perfected over centuries of royal burials. Your corpse will be treated with the finest natron salt, wrapped in hundreds of yards of linen blessed by the priests of Ptah, adorned with amulets of gold and precious stones that will protect you from the demons of the underworld. The golden mask that will cover your face is already being crafted by the royal goldsmiths, its features combining your earthly appearance with the idealized beauty of divine kingship. Treasures beyond imagination fill the storage chambers that branch off from your tomb's main corridor. Golden furniture that will serve you in the afterlife, weapons of silver and obsidian for your battles against the forces of chaos, jewelry that will adorn your divine form throughout eternity. Servants have been preparing these grave goods for years, each item blessed and consecrated, each piece designed to serve a specific purpose in your immortal existence.
Your Shabti figures stand in ordered ranks like a ghostly army, hundreds of small mummiform statues that will come to life in the afterlife to perform any labor demanded of you by the gods. These magical servants, carved from wood and stone, painted with your royal features, will ensure that even in death you maintain the dignity befitting a pharaoh. They will plow your fields in the afterlife, harvest your celestial crops, and perform all the tasks that might otherwise diminish your divine status. The Book of the Dead, written on papyrus made from reeds that grew in the sacred pools of the temple, contains the spells and formulas you will need to navigate the underworld successfully. Your name appears throughout the text, each mention carefully written by scribes whose hands were blessed by Thoth himself. These words will become your voice in the realm of the dead, your passport to immortality, your guide through the labyrinth of death to the final triumph of resurrection. As you walk through these chambers that will house your eternity, you feel the weight of destiny settling upon your shoulders. Your earthly reign, however glorious, is merely preparation for the eternal kingship that awaits you among the gods. Every decision you make as Pharaoh, every temple you build, every enemy you conquer, contributes to the divine power you will wield throughout all the ages to come.
The sun sets behind the great pyramid of your ancestor Khufu, its massive bulk casting shadows that stretch across the desert like fingers reaching toward eternity. From your palace balcony, you gaze upon this monument to royal power and divine ambition, knowing that your own tomb, hidden in the Valley of the Kings, will rival even this wonder in its testament to your glory. The pyramids stand as eternal proof that pharaohs transcend the boundaries of mortal life, their achievements carved in stone that will endure until the end of time itself. Your cartouche, that oval ring enclosing your royal name in sacred hieroglyphs, appears on monuments throughout your kingdom. From the temples of Abu Simbel in the south to the Delta cities in the north, your name is carved in granite and limestone, painted on tomb walls and written on papyrus scrolls. These inscriptions will carry your identity forward through the centuries, ensuring that future generations will speak your name and remember your deeds long after your mummy has crumbled to dust. The great temple complex you commissioned at Karnak grows larger each year, its halls and courtyards expanding like a stone city dedicated to the glory of the gods and their chosen representative on earth. The massive columns, each one large enough to contain a house, bear your image receiving life and power from the divine hands of Amun-Ra. These carved scenes will tell the story of your reign to visitors who will come centuries hence, pilgrims and scholars who will marvel at the civilization you helped create. Your military campaigns have extended Egypt's borders farther than any pharaoh before you. The tribute that flows into your treasury from conquered lands, gold from Nubia, cedar from Lebanon, lapis lazuli from Afghanistan, demonstrates the reach of your power to the known world. Your name is feared by enemies and revered by allies. Your diplomatic marriages have forged alliances that will outlast your mortal life. Your treaties are carved in stone and sealed with oaths sworn before the gods themselves. The administrative system you have perfected will govern Egypt for generations to come. The scribal schools that train your officials use texts that include your own words on justice and governance. Your legal codes, inscribed on stone stelae erected in every major city, will guide the decisions of judges long after you have joined the gods in the afterlife. The very structure of Egyptian government bears the imprint of your wisdom and authority. In the great library at Alexandria, scrolls preserve your accomplishments for the education of future pharaohs. Your victories in battle, your building projects, your religious innovations, your diplomatic triumphs, all are recorded in detail by the royal scribes whose duty it is to preserve the memory of your reign. These documents will become historical treasures, studied by scholars who will seek to understand the golden age you created. Your bloodline carries the divine spark forward through your children and their descendants. The royal succession you have established will ensure that your genetic legacy continues to rule Egypt, each successive pharaoh carrying within their veins the same divine essence that flows through your mortal form. Your sons and daughters have been trained from birth to understand the sacred responsibilities of kingship, prepared to carry forward the traditions you have established. The artistic style that has flourished during your reign will influence Egyptian culture for centuries. The statues carved in your image, the relief sculptures that decorate your temples, the architectural innovations that mark your building projects, all establish aesthetic standards that future generations will strive to emulate. Your reign represents a pinnacle of cultural achievement that will be remembered as a golden age of Egyptian civilization. Yet, even as you contemplate these monuments to your earthly power, you know that your greatest legacy lies not in stone and gold, but in the divine transformation that awaits you after death. Your mummy will rest among the greatest pharaohs in the hidden depths of the Valley of the Kings. Your Ka will join the eternal council of god-kings who watch over Egypt from beyond the veil of mortality. You will become one with the cosmic order itself, your individual identity merged with the eternal principles that govern the universe. Standing here in the gathering darkness, with the lights of Memphis twinkling below and the eternal stars wheeling overhead, you feel the full weight of your unique position in the cosmic order. You are both the most powerful mortal who has ever lived and the most constrained, master of an empire that spans continents, yet prisoner of the divine destiny that shapes every moment of your existence. Your legacy will endure as long as the Nile flows and the desert sands remember the footsteps of gods walking among men. The night wind carries the scent of lotus blossoms from the palace gardens, mixing with the distant smoke of temple incense and the eternal dust of the ancient land you rule. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, new decisions that will ripple through history, new opportunities to add to the legacy that will make your name immortal. But tonight, you are simply a man standing beneath the stars, carrying within your mortal frame the divine spark that makes you Pharaoh, the living God, the eternal bridge between heaven and earth.